Hi, this is Dr. Beth Corvo, and within this course, you have activities called retrieval practice. And in this lecture, Lecture 3C, I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about this type of practice and touch on the Hughes and Lee reading. So, what is retrieval practice? What is retrieval practice? Retrieval practice is a learning strategy where we focus on getting information out. When we teach, we focus on getting information in. We focus on teaching in a way that students will hear the content and understand the content. Retrieval practice is simply the act of retrieval or calling information to mind. When we call information to mind, our memory for that information is strengthened and forgetting is less likely to occur. The article by Hughes and Lee describes three types of retrieval practice. Because we have focused on the importance of knowledge this week, it is important to spend some time thinking about how students can remember what they have learned. Most teachers can relate to the frustration of teaching a concept, observing students appear to grasp the concept, followed by disappointment when some or many of these students do not retain the content of the teaching. Although some forgetting occurs for all learners, there are students who are particularly susceptible to experiencing difficulties with retaining content. These students require extended, focused practice in order to ensure long-term retention. Retrieval practice is the act of trying to recall information without having it in front of you. Hughes and Lee's article explains three related approaches to retrieval practice with the goal of long-term retrieval. These are distributed, cumulative, and interleaved practice. The key to each of these three types of practice is the struggle that occurs when we attempt to retrieve. It is this struggle, as uncomfortable as it may be, that gives retrieval practice its power to help with retention. Hughes and Lee describe distributed practice, also referred to as spaced practice, as a method for scheduling relatively short practice sessions over time. Spacing practice over time has been shown to be more effective for retaining skills. It helps with knowledge and understanding over a variety of content areas. Hughes and Lee say that the distribution of practice over time makes students think and reflect and helps change mindless practice to mindful practice. Hughes and Lee identify cumulative practice as the systematic addition of a just learned skill to previously learned and related skills. Cumulative practice allows for distributed practice over time. It avoids what they call teaching and leaving and results in long-term retention. Hughes and Lee summarize the pattern for cumulative practice as teach, add, and repeat. It begins by explicitly teaching a skill or concept and then adding it to a cumulative practice activity where it is practiced along with previously taught and practiced skills. They describe how this process is repeated until all selective skills have been added and can be practiced together. Interleaved practice provides students more opportunities to use two types of mental activities as they practice: retrieval and discrimination. Often when students learn tasks related to a particular skill, like math facts or spelling rules, they move on and are taught other skills. These related skills are often practiced together. What interleaving does is that it mixes up the accumulated skills within a single practice session. This way, the skills are not practiced consecutively. So students have to be more mindful and discriminatory in their responses. Again, it is the increased struggle that is involved that increases learning. You will notice that throughout this course, we often utilize a simple form of retrieval practice. The hope is that you will look at learning through a new lens, with a focus beyond getting information in, but on getting information out. When we utilize this strategy, we call information to mind, which subsequently enhances and boosts learning. Often we think we've learned some piece of information, but we come to realize we struggle when we try to recall the answer. It's important to remember that it's precisely this struggle or challenge that improves our memory and learning. By trying to recall information, we exercise and strengthen our memory, and we can also identify gaps in our learning. If you'd like to learn more, a good place to start is by reading or checking out the website www.retrievalpractice.org. Thank you so much for listening.